think I'm live. Ha! Looks like the orientation is the right way. What is up? It's your boy AB here with a live on a Friday. I was actually trying to do this last Friday, but it seems like all the storms and things were killing my network access or whatever you want to call it. So I am out in the garage today, actually kind of playing catch up with some of the things that I'm working on. So let's first make sure I'm not about to trip over any of my cameras because I am going to be recording a little bit here shortly. But there is the M3. We got some work happening with that. I got to get under the hood in just a moment. I've got some parts that have just come in for that in recent days for the M3, and that's actually parts for the Alpha, which I'm actually getting ready to jack up right now in just a moment. So I have got to access the lift. I'm going to use this one instead of that one in the corner, but go ahead and get this jack, get this wheel off, which I'm going to have to torque back down here in a second as well. But I'll show you what's happening with this because, man, this has become a little bit of an issue with remedying this thing that I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to put I don't have to record that with this camera, so I'm just going to put this in its stand and I will go from there. But this is your kind of like you look at behind the scenes. There I am. All right, let's get this in here. I think the chat is open. I don't know. I won't necessarily be looking at it. So if you're, let me see, can I see it? If you're saying anything, I probably won't see it. So I'm just saying, don't mind me not saying much because I'm not paying attention to much. So can I see this? Is it too bright? Hopefully it's not. Let's get this back some so y'all can see. I think I'll be good right there. And I got my AirPods in, so you'll probably be hearing me. At least I hope you will hear me where it doesn't sound like I'm at a distance. So, but here we go, moving this stuff. Oh, I need that. I could chalk this wheel. Got my chalk here for the chalk. Say chalk instead of chalk like writing on a chalkboard, but chalk the wheel. Jack this up from the jack point. Should be here. Man, you screaming like we need some WD-40. You got plenty of grease in there too. All right, let's come back this way a little bit. Damn, I cannot see this screen. I think y'all are seeing okay here. Get the impact gun. With my gloves, because that's gonna get dirty already. Oh, plus. All right, now that I have that off, we get to look and see what's actually happening. So I'll show you this first. So this leak is fairly new. I'd say within the last 3 weeks. And I think that fresh. Yeah, that's fresh. These are old and dried up with some material, some stuff. But anyway, it looks like it's oil. That's at least what I thought it was at first. But as I looked under the hood, could not find any leaks. It was bone dry under the hood. And plus, it was coming from under the wheel well. I started feeling around and ended up seeing this right here. So that is fluid around the damper and the spring. You can see it from here flowing downward, and I can see it go all the way up to the top. I don't know if you can really see it here, but this is a whole assembly, and I don't even know where to start talking about this doing shop, man. Uh, oh boy, where do I even go? Let me take these gloves off so I can talk a little bit. Ah, I have said this before that you got to pay to play. Like you legit are paying to play when it comes to these cars, the Alfa Romeo, the BMW M3, let alone just a BMW, but the M3s, they come with their own ownership price tag. But I can say ownership with this one has definitely been a lot different than what I have found out with just this one part. So basically, it is how can I say this? So when it comes to buying BMW parts, you can go to the dealership. You can pay the upcharge of it having the BMW logo or even the M logo. Can I even show you on? Where is the M logo on here? It's not on that one. Yeah, now I can't find anything with the with the logo. Hold on. Nope, that's the okay, so that's TRW. I guess I'll use that as an example. So this control arm is made by TRW, which is that right there. It's upside down, and then it's got BMW German. So it's got BMW inscribed or stamped, or even a label that will be on there. This is where TRW sold it to BMW, and on in the M division when they put these parts on, it was supplied and put on at the plant with BMW. So that keeps that on there. Now, when you go to the BMW dealership and you buy those parts, if it has that stamp, you're going to pay whatever the premium is. Now, with this particular, did I change anything on here? I don't know if you can see it. Yep. So this particular control arm is made by BMW. Excuse me, made by TRW as well. I replaced that a couple of years ago. Now, you can't buy this from the dealership. You buy it from a supplier like ECS Tuning, FCP Euro, and some of the other ones. I can never remember the Beamer. There's a Beamer World. Beamer World, you can order from places like that, I believe. So you can get these parts from other places. You're not going to go to your, let me say this, You're not going to be able to go to AutoZone or Napa or Advanced Auto Parts, none of those places. You're not going to find these parts there. You have to order them online or go to the dealership. So in this particular case, as I'm highlighting, this particular one I got from, I think, ECS Tuning. So, and I'm just going to use a round number. I don't remember exactly what I paid for it, but let's just say if this part was stamped with the BMW logo or the words or labels, anything like that, and I bought it from the dealership or even from ECS Tuning. But if I had to have the genuine, was considered genuine part because it has that stamp, made by TRW, but has that stamp, BMW, let's just say this part is $400. I'm just using that as an example. Let's say this is $400. But let's say I was buying this part with just being made by TRW, and like this one is scratched out or has been milled out, that has been scratched out, and now it's just TRW. Um, you would save a significant amount. I'll just say that a certain percentage, and let's just say you end up paying instead of what was the number I even just said? Let's say instead you paid $200 instead of what you would have paid for the genuine part. Did I say 400? I can't even remember what the heck I said. 400, 300, 500? Boy, that's crazy. My mind is racing right now. Uh, that's crazy. And I'm live, so hey, I'm just going with it. I'm going with it. Don't mind me right now. Don't mind me at all. But but yeah, let's just say it was, you save maybe 50%. Sometimes it's not that great of a saving. You may be looking at 30%, 15%, 20%, but period, you are saving money when you just buy the OE part versus the genuine part. So genuine BMW would cost more because it has BMW, but it's the same part that's made by, in this case, TRW. So you're saving money by not having to have the brand on there. Okay. So now let me bring you to where I'm at. Let me bring you to where I'm at. So with the Alpha right now, in order to buy parts, you pretty much are going to the dealership because you are buying genuine parts. And it's hard to find these parts, and in this particular case, this particular shock or shocks, period, the dampers, even at a parts yard. This Stelvio QV, again, this one is the QV, the 2.9 twin turbo engine, Ferrari derived engine. So there's not as many of these on the road as there are Stelvios in the first place, but there you have it, paying to play. But finding that part is having to go to the dealership, and I'll tell you the price of that part in a moment. But I ended up, I've got a buddy of mine that reached back out. Even I had talked to him when this happened, and I had searched around for parts, and similar to any other car, especially some of these BMWs, and in this case, the Alpha, parts do change like mid-year or just a different year, a newer year, things change. This is a 2012. There's some things that are vastly different on it than it was from the '07, '08s, and '09s up to 2013, which was the last year. So this is 2020, and then you had 2017, 18, 19, those years prior to, and then all the way up to where we are now. But there has been significant changes, and evidently that part, the suspension or damper, is one. So those are the rear. So let me move that. Those are the rear. These are the fronts. All right. Now it is active dampening, so therefore there's a connector for it to plug in. Now, the one that I found online, and I'll kind of explain a little bit more about how difficult they are to get. The one that I did find online, the one that matched the part number, because there is a part number specific to this VIN, and that's the other thing you'll learn with BMWs, Alphas, Mercedes, Porsche. There's a lot of things that are VIN specific. I know that I have been asked in DIYs and things like that with some of the cars. Like, will this thing work for mine? Can you code this out? Can you code this in with like Beamer code? And it's hard to answer that because each car can be spec'd different. So when you go and build your own car, you can add stuff in or you could leave that stuff out. And certain things, when you add it in, some things are included, some features are not. And because some things are optional or come with that package, or you have to buy that package versus somebody else that didn't get that package, but everything else was about the same, you may or may not have those features or functions. So it really boils down to looking at the VIN. So in this particular case, this VIN and that shock, that number that's on there, that lets me know to look for that particular one because that's what they put. That's the way this one was optioned. That's all I can say on that. That's the way this one was optioned. So when I look for that part number, it's hard to find that part number. But when I did find it, I found it on eBay, and that particular shop where they had parted it out, it was a wrecked, totaled vehicle. They parted it out just like going through IAA or Copart here. They had the part for sale, but they do not ship to the US. So I'm not able to get that unless there's a workaround and maybe somebody in the car community can help me out. I'm looking to reach out to a few folks if I don't find what I'm needing. But here are the shocks that I'm talking about now that I picked up last Saturday, and I'll just say that I had an amazing time. Let me start with that verse. I had an amazing time meeting with this fellow YouTuber, him and his family. And honestly, when I got there, I was so excited to talk to him and learn from him and enjoy. We went and had lunch at a burger joint, which was fire, but it was different. I can't even think of what the name of the place was, but but it was very, very good. The burger was huge. The sweet potato fries were amazing, and the conversation was great. I learned a lot from him during that time, and really, I just got lost in the process. And in going there to get the dampers, I really just kind of ran over looking at them. We didn't get into all of the things that I should have. And when I got back, I realized a couple of things that was not going to work. And I'll show you the main thing is here. And I guess I'll walk back over here. If we go under here, when we talk about those specific parts, VIN related, which is making shopping for this so much harder. If you follow this fork all the way down to where it connects right here, you see how long that is? And you see that's going over the CV axle, and then that's connecting down here at the bottom to the lower control arm. So that is much different than this one right here, where this is much shorter. All right, that right there is much shorter, so that's not going to work at all. And it is a different part number, but I, didn't think, even though I had done all that homework and research, I didn't think that the year was going to make that much of a difference. I don't even know if I confirmed before going if it was what year it was, or 2018, 2020, 2017. It didn't matter. I didn't confirm all those particulars, and I knew better. I knew better before making the purchase that I needed to check all those details. Again, I just got excited about making that connection finally, and the other things that came out of creating content with that. So, lesson learned for myself as far as how all that worked out. We're good. Everything is definitely good. I take the heat. I take the heat on not making sure that I had been more careful with looking at stuff. I normally am. My attention to detail is often, spot on, and I just, yeah, that's on me. So not to spend too much time on that because I want to get to the M3 here for a little while. But that's where I'm at on here. I am going to have to source this shock again. And here was the other thing: the win for this is that it was going to be both sides. So I was going to go ahead and replace both sides. The Alpha does have 52,000 miles on it now. And with 52,000 miles on those dampers, I wanted to go ahead and swap both sides. I don't feel that there's going to be that great of a difference with handling since it's all electronically controlled, and the main controller of that is going to be whatever module is running that system. So at the end of the day, the module has to talk to each individual damper. So with that, it's not like a mechanical setup where it's just mechanical only. So I feel like it would be fine just doing one. But the win was going to be having both dampers. I don't remember how many miles is on it. Less than 52,000, I believe, is what I understood. But then I'd be swapping them out. And at the same time, I have Sport Springs, Lauren Springs from Madness Auto Works that I bought about a year ago, and I was going to go ahead and lower the car. That still is the game plan, but now I'm back to square one because I'm looking for the shock. Now, the reason I came down to sticking with one instead of buying two, because those dampers are not going to work out, is because the price of one damper, brand new, genuine part from Alfa Romeo of Austin, is $1,720.10. Yeah, I gotta add the 10 cents in there. Yeah, $1,720. Yeah, that's how much one shock costs. And I'll be honest, when I was in the hunt for the coilovers and even the active dampening for this, because this has electronic dampening as well. It's got EDC. So even shopping for these, I was coming up around. You couldn't buy them individually. You pretty much like Bilstein or the setup that Evolve Automotive have now put out here in the recent 6-8 months or so, I believe. Even that's about, I want to say, $3 grand, somewhere between 3 and 4 grand. So that's going to be less expensive than that. And even if I went with a genuine damper, the genuine damper, I believe, was somewhere between $400 and $500 up front, and then in the rear, somewhere between maybe $350 and $400. So either way, it was definitely cheaper than $1,700 for a front damper, and I believe even the rears were going to be 14. So by the time I did all the math, it was going to be somewhere around a little over 6K to replace all of them. Not saying I was going to do them all at one time, but just in the interim. I mean, with the fact of having to do it at some point in time. So even coilovers were becoming an option. KW makes a plug and play coilover setup, but when I look at the pictures for KW, we get to the same thing on the end there, so it's probably not going to work. So it has been, I am not going to lie, it has been crazy trying to source this part. It has had me questioning my purchase of this vehicle, as much as I love it, as fast as it is, as beautiful as it is, and how much I really like it. But at the end of the day, I'm like, boy, did I pick a car that is really, really eating up some financial resources. But at the end of the day, it's a lesson learned. At the end of the day, it's an opportunity for me to learn this vehicle. And I think at the end of the day, too, I keep screaming exotic cars. So, I mean, that's letting me know what exotic car maintenance, cost of ownership is looking like. So, God dang it, Alpha QV. Jeez. All right. Well, now I know. Now I know. That's all I can say. So I am going to go ahead and put this back. I needed to torque this down anyway because I had pulled this tire off the other day and just put it back on with the impact gun. So I'm going to let me get that now. So I have it. Let's go ahead and That's this one. There we go. I'm put that on about 100 foot-pounds, and I'll turn that in a second. Oh, and if you didn't notice, if you have a torque wrench or a torque ratchet, make sure that you zero it out. It's a torque wrench. Make sure you zero it out. I remember having one some years ago when I first bought. I think it was this one right here. Not that one, but it was that size. I bought one some years ago from Harbor Freight, and it stopped like working. Like it wouldn't click. It wouldn't do its thing properly. And when I took it back because it had a warranty, lifetime warranty, the young lady told me that, hey, when you finish it, well, she asked me if I was zeroing it out or just leaving it. I said leaving it. She said, yeah, that's the issue. When you finish using it, zero it out, and that way, when you go back to use it, it's good. So I don't know what the mechanism is that causes for it to um, that helps it, stay in tune with itself. But yeah, zero it out when you're done. That was just my little note to you. Since it crossed my mind. All right, let me get back to putting this wheel on. Where are we? Right here. All right, put y'all back on here. Oh well, I don't have my other glove. I'll be all right. Oh boy. Well, it is Friday here where I am, and boy, that sun is beaming. Sheesh. Holy cow. Yeah, I didn't pick the right time of the day to do this. I should have definitely been out here much sooner, but oh well. Here I am. Okay. Whew, looks like it got hot. I need to sit it in here in this cool area. Sorry about that. All right, let me finish torquing this down. And yeah, I keep that phone out of the sun because that's exactly what happened. I think I just finished saying how hot it is. All right, that is done. And let's get you off of here. All right, I'm gonna spend the next few minutes taking care of a main thing that I need to do on the M3, and that is that is going to be loosening this cap, and draining the oil. The M3 is not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. I am pretty much have decided that I might want to sit down for this one. Let me sit down for this one. I am doing something a little bit different than I had planned. Ooh, I'm sweating real good. Holy cow. Than what was planned before, because the game plan was to take this car to 200,000 miles. If you didn't know, this car has 174 plus thousand miles. In fact, let me just see what that number is right quick. I know it's 174, maybe 4 something, 3 something. I don't remember. We'll find out right here. All right, 226. Okay, so 174, 226. That's where we're at. I love how I recognize that it's in service mode. Oh boy. Okay, so let me sit down. So with that, and I need some water. With that, some things have changed because of a sequence of events. And all right, I need this. I'm not gonna be able to hold this, just holding it like this. Let me jack this up. Ba, 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 ba. All right, let's come up a little bit. Yeah. Just like that. Okay, maybe a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more. Have you looking at my chest? Need to look at my face. All right, there we go. There we goes. Okay, so the change of events is that in removing the front bumper because of ripping the carpeted belly pan, if you have an E92 M3 or really probably some of the newer BMWs probably got that felt material in the fender liner and stuff like that. It even has it in the Alpha. That's I guess it's to protect, but then just be light. Not the best material. So that got caught on one of those little curb stops. You know, when you pull into a parking spot, and it's got that little concrete like block barrier type thing to keep you from going over. So I pulled into one that had it versus the end spot like I normally do. I came out of the store and sat there for a little while. I was working on something. I can't remember what it was. I remember putting it in park, but not driving off. And I kind of just slowly, as I was gathering my thoughts, kind of slowly was rolling forward. And then I realized there was no audible noise or nothing. Nothing happened other than just me remembering that, wait, that thing is in front of me. So I got to back up and then go. Well, I had rolled over far enough to where when I backed up, I heard it tug at the front bumper. So I drove for a little while. I heard some scraping, and I was like, "Dang it! I done ripped the bumper off." I didn't quite rip the bumper off. I had ripped off the belly pan. Did I? Here it is, right here. Fender liners are sitting right here, but this is the belly pan that I ripped off. And as you can see, it's got like that a little soft felt material. That's what it looks like under there. So basically, it had pushed up against that barrier, and then when I came back over, it just basically ripped it. So this was just hanging down and scrubbing the ground. Yeah. So I just had to chuckle. About scrub the ground. If you grew up in Atlanta in the 90s, Splat Pack. If you lived in Florida, you should have heard of Splat Pack, scrub the ground. So of course that's what I thought about. I digress. But so since doing that, I had to take off the belly pan, and then taking off the belly pan, the other side over there is the hard metal. I'll just show you better than trying to tell you. There's this other tray, the metal tray that protects the oil pan and the DCT trans pan. So I had taken that off. Oh, well, maybe I should just show you. I had taken that off. It's not on here now, but there's a rubber bumper that sits on there. Actually, nope, right here. I'm sorry. Is that right there? That is basically the jack point, because that right there is sitting along the frame. Let me see if I can show you under here. May as well. All right, so there's the frame there, or the subframe. So you've got a good place to put the jack there. I had taken that down, and in my taking that down, instead of hitting that point, I ended up hitting this point. And when you push up on this is actually the oil pan. And that, my friend, that does move. It pushes up. And when I pushed it up, I ended up, as I came back down, ended up seeing drops of oil, which is right here. So I have compromised the seal, at least. I don't believe I compromised the oil pan. At least I won't know until I take it off. But at least I know I compromised the gasket, so I am going to have to drop. As you can see, I'm sweating like crazy. But with that said, because I have to drop the subframe, and because I'm dropping the subframe to get to the oil pan, there's a few things in there I'm just going to go ahead and replace the subframe bushings, and there's some other bushings that is under there to be replaced. And when you drop the oil pan, guess what is there? The rod bearings. The rod bearings are there, and that's the very thing I said that I was going to take this car to 200K, 200,000 miles before changing. I think right now the thought process is I'm already there. It's a while I'm in there process, I'm just going to do it myself. And the thing is, it kind of sucks because I watched, I can't think of the name of the company now. They're based in the UK, and they work on BMWs, and they have shared videos specific to E9X chassis, the E46 chassis, but basically around the rod bearings. Excuse me, and they talk about the original rod bearings. And one of the cars that they did had around 174,000 miles, a little bit more than what I have on mine, and that was on original rod bearings. So had I gotten a little further along, I might could say this E92 M3 that I own would have been the highest mileage um, E92 M3 or E9X M3 or S65 engine on original rod bearings. Now, mind you, I have heard from folks that have E92 M3s or E9X M3s with a lot higher mileage, 240 something thousand miles, and even maybe even higher. But they have not said that they're on original rod bearings. And I don't remember if they've even confirmed how many miles they had on it before they did their rod bearings. So my goal, of course, was to be the highest mileage example on original rod bearings. Now here's the catch. I don't know, as the second owner, if the first owner had the rod bearings done. So I may get in here and find out that those are BE bearings with ARP bolts, or they might be the factory bearings. I forget the actual brand that is. When I figure that out, I'll I'll say something maybe in the comments or wherever in the next video. But I'm going to go ahead and chop off and end the video here. Let me get this out of here because I want to get some work done and let this sweat equity pay off. I do want to say that this is the MLT skid plate that I have when you tune in to the actual next video or next M3 video, because I don't know if the alpha videos are going to come before, but the next M3 video will spotlight this full teardown, and I'll show the skid plate is not going to go on until all the work to the car is done, but I'll at least open it up, make sure everything is good, because I haven't opened it since it arrived, and I do want to make sure everything is good so that I won't need to worry about anything with that. I also have parts in here for the alpha. This has been long awaited. I have to tell you about how I acquired that. I will just definitely say the same person that helped me out with this and content strategy is the same person that helped me source this part, helped me even with the notion. I already knew the person, but didn't even realize that person had that much reach in the alpha community. So thanks to him for that. But I'll shout them out in another video. And I say that to say, I feel terrible about how all of this went because I just feel like I should have caught it in the beginning and should have asked the questions that I wanted to ask. You know, that whole thing I say about following your first mind, using your gut. Uh, Oftentimes, people do understand it's not a jab at their integrity or anything like that. But just asking the right questions when it's time to ask those questions saves yourself and them from being in a place where you're at now feeling bad about how the transaction went, or saving, I guess, just saving whatever emotions from either side. Like I said, I feel bad. He has definitely expressed his apologies, and like I said, has taken care of the situation. I've expressed my own ownership in it. I might be giving this more energy than it even needs, but what I want to say is, relationships are super important to me, and I never want for anything, even as that, to sour a relationship. I respect the work that they do. I respect their integrity with the community because they do provide goods and services for the community through the content and through actual merch. So I salute you all for everything that you're doing, and we'll iron that thing out, get that taken care of. But this was trying to find the parts for this was a shot in the dark anyway, so I think I'm done talking about that. But yeah, that is the part for the alpha. So I'll make sure that I have that to talk about in the next Stelvio QV video. In the meantime, if you've managed to make it this far in the video, because this was a live and now I'm just leaving it up to air. So if you've made it this far, I hope you enjoyed what you were seeing here with both the Alpha and the M3. I'm going to get under here and start draining the fluids and getting this thing prepared to pretty much drop the subframe and get to the rod bearings and go ahead and get that replaced. And then we'll be able to answer the question if this is truly a high mileage 174 plus 1,000 mile example with original rod bearings. So in the meantime, hey, everyone, show up for yourself, love yourself. You got to do that for you before you can do it for anyone else. In the meantime, y'all what to do? Y'all, yeah, whew, too bad that wasn't an outtake. In the meantime, you all know what to do. As always, keep driving and salute.